Okay, now that we have the plot plan drawn, the outside wall or the outside lot lines, I should say, what we want to do is to get this floor plan, the outside portion of the floor plan, on that lot. But before we do that, what we need to know is where can we put this house? Where exactly on this lot? And by the way, this is a big lot. It's over 5 acres. I would say in most cities, a 1 acre lot would be a very, very large lot, and probably more common would be in the mm, 1/3 of an acre, 0.2 acres, something like that inside the city. This is outside this, just outside the city limits. So these lots are very large. This is probably the size of about 2 blocks, so maybe even 3. So this is quite a large lot. But having said that, what we need to do is wherever our lot happens to be, in whichever town it happens to be, we need to look at the city ordinances. So so if we go to the city of Wahpeton and say, okay, where are the ordinances here? We could search out um, using their search engine. Hopefully that's pretty clear. We go to search that and say, okay, this setback, and that's what they're called. Setbacks are in this document here, and so we go and we find the setbacks. So development standards right here, minimum lot area, they shall be at least, okay, in the outside of town, they should be at least 1 acre. The let me see, the and the access and egress shall be located not closer than 30 feet from the sidelines. The setback of any structure shall be 50 feet from the front lot line on the street. And then it says yard requirements, a minimum of 25 feet shall be provided for both the side yards, the left and right side yards, and 30 feet from the rear. So going back to our AutoCAD drawing, we need to have, this is the street right here, and keep in mind that this back here is the river. So that's the backyard. The distance from this lot line offset was 50 feet. And that's a pretty big setback, but on this lot, it's nothing. It looks like nothing. So there we go. So we'll offset the side yards were 25 feet. Okay. And the rear lot was 30 feet. I'm going to fillet those, make sure that the radius is 0. I'm going to fillet those, and we have now the area that we can build in. Now, the one thing that I have to remind ourselves, or remind myself, I guess, is that this again is a river bottom, and we have a line. I'm just going to draw a freehand line on lot number 6. It's probably, it's maybe even a little less than that. I'd want to say about that distance right there. And that's kind of the area that we'd want to stick on. You know, if I did have um, a plot plan like this, what I could do is I could find a distance, and I could measure it to its, let's say 65 feet. Nope, the total distance is 106 feet, so let's say 105 feet. 105 feet there, and a distance from here to here is 176 feet, 105 and 175. So I'm going to go back to my drawing. I'm going to just use offset again. 105 feet. and offset 175 feet. These are just approximate, of course, and that one's actually not too far off. All right, so that's just kind of a little guideline right there. So this is kind of the sliver that I'd really want to stay within. I don't want to build out here where the possibility of flooding is fairly great, and I can't by code develop in this area. And by the way, there are often codes and regulations on whether I can build in a floodplain anyway. So this might even be definitely a situation I want to check into. Okay, so how do I place this house? Well, first of all, I don't want to take this whole structure and and copy that whole structure. I don't care where all of the all of the interior walls and that type of thing. I'm going to freeze a number of these layers here and just really all I really want is the now I want to leave the object layer. I'm just going to see what that looks like. Okay, what layer are those symbols? Um, wind door. Okay, I'm going to freeze. And then what is the hatch on? Wall shading. Okay, so I'll take out symbols, wind doors, and wall shading. Okay, this will be a little more easily handled. So now I'm going to copy just pieces and parts of this structure. If I copy a few too many, that's fine. I'm just really defining the outer edges of the structure. Oops. I'm gonna copy a little bit more of this area here. I can always erase it if I don't need it. Okay, and just in case I forgot something, I'm going to pick a certain distance. I'm going to put ortho on and I'm going to say 150 feet. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and fillet these. I'm just hitting return on these. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I'm going to erase one of these little lines here. I just don't want to end up with a bunch of small segments of lines. All right, and I'll just erase this text here. I don't need this detail. Okay, one more little line. So basically what I have is a outline of this structure. And I'm just going to copy it as opposed to as opposed to moving it. And I'm going to take ortho off and pop it in like this. Okay, now what I want to do is to rotate this and let me see. I wonder if I want to do it like this. Use this as the rotation point. And I could square it up with this lot line by simply snapping to this right here, and then just move this back into the lot again. Now, this is where the client would come in to play pretty heavily. I mean, do you want it to, in our case, since we don't have a real client, it wouldn't matter that much. But uh, so I'm not going to be correcting this. But do I want to hug this way over here? Do I want to bring it back close to the high water mark? Do I want to hug it to this line? Do I want to kind of center it? Do I want to hug it close? Oops, close to um, our front lot line. So those are all things that we want to discuss with our client pretty heavily, and obviously these decisions would be things that we want to go out to the lot with our client and discuss. Um, as far as the elevations go, what the things that I'd construction wise want to do is pick a spot and say this is the elevation, um, whether it is an actual elevation around Wapton. We're at about 960 feet above sea level, whether we want to use that or we want to use just a kind of a benchmark and say, okay, here is our elevation, and that I'm going to start with and then work from there. For instance, one person might say, okay, this lot corner right here, I'm going to call 100 feet, and anything above that would be 101 feet, 101.56 feet. Anything below that would be less than 100. So it would be, if I was a foot lower, it'd be at 99 feet. If I was a foot and a half lower, then it would be 98.50 feet. So that's a very common way to deal with elevations. And then if I'm 15 feet below, if I call this 100, if I'm 15 feet below, this here would be 100 feet minus 15 feet would be 85 feet. So that's what I would like us to assume is that our front corners, I'm just going to call these both level. They may or may not be, but I'll call these front corners at 100 feet. The back corners I'm going to make at 85 feet, 15 feet below, and then we're going to put in a couple of contour lines in order to show where the swale, where the water will be running.